Hello, my peoples. Good afternoon. You're here with Lewis here at Eastern Garden Designs. What we're doing today is composting. Composting is real essential when it comes to adding topsoil to your actual garden. It's, I would say, alkaline type of soil. And when you add that to your soil, what it does is that it neutralizes it. It neutralizes it. So if you have a acidic soil and you can't get no plants to grow, then you want to compost. Certain things that you're going to add to your compost is soil, but you want to add other elements to give it nutrients like rock dust. Rock dust is good for like magnesium, phosphorus, but then you want to add leaves. Leaves are really essential for your compost because it adds nitrogen to your soil. Nitrogen is what a soil needs, is what plants need to thrive. Tree bark is another essential thing to add to your compost because that adds a lot of fibers and iron. And soil is just like when you make a smoothie, you want to add minerals in it because those same type of minerals that you're going to add back into the soil is going to make your plants thrive. Then we're going to go over to eggshells. Eggshell is one of the essential things that like my grandmother used to do, and it still works today. Eggshells is calcium, potassium. Well, potassium comes from banana leaves. You can add that too, but you will see below is that I have eggshells. Eggshells is really good for calcium. Plants love calcium. Basically, plants love what we love. There's other things that we may not think that is worthy for composting, like hair. Like if you brush your hair and you have the excess hair, you can put that right in your compost. That is not a bad thing. Newspaper is also good for composting. What else? Like food scrappings are really good. I don't want to say add citrus. So if you like peel an orange, I wouldn't add that because citrus is an acidic type of element. So if you add that in the soil, it's hard to break down. So when it comes to like citrus, I would not even like recycle lemons. I wouldn't recycle oranges, but anything else is good. So like if you have a salad and you don't want to use the bad leaves from the salad like spinach, you can put that into your actual compost bin. I even had watermelon that you see here that I've recycled and I'm putting in my compost bin. So, you know, different food waste is really good to add to your compost bin. So here today, we're composting, and I hope you guys have taken note of what we're doing today and make your compost a better soil for your landscape. Thank you for tuning in. Yes, guys, thank you for staying with me. So what we're doing now is we're gonna add all the elements that you've seen laid out here for you into the compost bin. So that way it can break down and become biodiversity, become that element that's gonna make our tomato grow very nice and juicy, or our watermelon nice and juicy, or even like the zucchini that you see here that I'm growing. I'm growing zucchini right now, basil, sunflowers. So compost, these plants love this type of compost. So I just want you to stay tuned. I'm gonna add all these elements and mix it in, make it all nice and good and bring all that love into it. So that way that this compost becomes an essential thing for my actual vegetable garden. Okay, so I'm gonna start with our first pile. I'm gonna take all the watermelon here and I'm gonna add it into the compost. I'll turn it once I add every element in there. Now we're gonna add our cardboard and our newspaper to our compost. These are gonna break down and add biodiversity. And when you can, just tear up the cardboard and the newspaper, break it down to pieces because it'll make it break down a lot easier. And I'm just gonna tear up the newspaper. Make it a lot easier to break down for the compost. You don't want to throw the whole newspaper in there. That's going to take time to break down. So if you tear it into pieces and you break it down and then you turn it over with the shovel, that'll help it break down a lot easier. So now I'm going to go ahead and use my dustpan to collect all the actual eggshells. I'm going to go ahead and collect my eggshells and add that to my compost bin. And I'm going to sweep it into the dustpan so that way I collect it all. And I'll go ahead and dump it inside. With any other little dust particles are good. Now, as we move forward, we're going to go ahead and collect our dirt that's essential too to add to our compost. And I want to actually use that and collect that in the dustpan as well. So I'm going to sweep up the dirt, make sure I collect it all. And you know, you can come back for a second run. And I'm going to add that to my compost bin. I'll use the dustpan to clean it up. And I'll dump the dirt in. Go back for any more scraps. And it's always it's always great to just get any extra debris and put it in, because you got to know, compost does not matter if you have too much or too little, more the better. And now we're moved to our last pile, which is our actual tree bark. And I think I can collect that with my hands. So I'll put this off to the side here. You can just break it down with your hand and add it to your compost, and then just slowly break it into pieces so that way it's easy to turn over with your shovel. And your compost loves it when you add the tree bark. It's just another element that you're adding, another part of nature that you're adding back into your soil, you know? So don't be afraid to get your hands dirty and break your bark down. And once I've broken that down, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my shovel and then I'm going to turn it over. And then I'll water it after I'm completely done turning it over. So that way it breaks down, it softens all the different elements that I've added into the soil, so it'll be easier to compost. So today, you've tuned into Easton Garden Design, and what we're doing today is composting here in our own backyard. Thank you for tuning in. Now, when your soil looks like coffee, that means that it's great soil. You know, when it's dry and it looks like flour, it's not so good. You want your soil to look like coffee or chocolate. So yeah, give it like 2 weeks. You know, the water's gonna secrete through, it's gonna break it down, you know, and everything from the newspaper, cardboard will be broken down as well. And then I can add that to my actual vegetable garden. But you want to give it like 2-3 weeks for everything to break down. If you don't see it broken down, keep turning it, you know, give it more time. But I would say 3 weeks at most should be good for once you add your eggshells and your newspaper and your cardboard to really break it down. And make sure you water it thoroughly. And always add your top onto, once you're done composting, put your closed top back on, so that way that it can cook the actual soil.